And making sure the sound's on, right?
Yep, sound's working. You
did that last week. I forgot about it.
It was rough.
He didn't record?
Yeah, he had to pull it from YouTube. There's no he forgot.
No, I recorded some of it, like into the news. The problem was then I had to sync up the two videos. And sync up the two audios. And,
I don't believe you.
I know, it's horrible. That's what I'm saying. Like the worst.
I hate you. Yo, what up, Justin? Welcome to the stream. How's Call of Duty going over there, bro? Are you getting them
Justin plays video games?
Yeah. When we don't
I remember that.
Yeah, we getting ready to get started. You know, we got some big stuff happening.
Do we? Do we have big stuff happening?
I don't know.
On a personal level?
On a personal level, we're doing just fine. We're all pretty routine. Get on RL after. I'll be on.
Ooh, I want some of that. I miss it so bad.
None of that dumb fantasy stuff. Alright, get out of here. Get out of here with it.
Justin.
Good. That is rich.
I'm gonna go play ESO. F y'all.
Dude, I don't even know what that is.
Yeah.
Elder Scrolls, the one we wanted to play first, but he had to play his, and then, you know.
No, I'm still gonna play Final Fantasy, but I'll play it with my other virtual friends that I'm gonna find in the world of Final Fantasy.
Yeah. I thought we were gonna start. What's the other one?
Exactly.
What?
Oh, what is it? It's online too. It's Elder Scrolls.
Oh my gosh, are you even here? You're pulling a Clint. That's what that whole conversation was about.
That's what that was about.
Elder Scrolls.
Yeah. No, I thought you guys were talking about Final Fantasy.
No, we're talking about that we were supposed to play Elder Scrolls, that everybody else wanted to, and then Clint made us play Final Fantasy.
Oh, yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying.
Wow,
agreeing.
Justin's over there going for the jugular, you know.
What he
says, I'm going to play Minecraft, said Clint, because he is 5 years old. He doesn't have friends, so he tries to make them in games with the computer.
Over there, Erpin the derpin.
Erpin the derpin. Well, you can't get you can't get STDs over the computer.
Erping, for those of you who've just tuned in, erotic roleplay by Clinton Stanley.
No, not by me. Get that out of here.
I know that doesn't mean you don't do it. You just
got a wife and two kids to prove it. Okay. All right.
A
wife and two kids to prove it. It's cool, bro. We will have fun together, guys, without him. Okay, I see what you're doing. Well, Divine the Delirious Dead.
I was going to say, we can only play threes, so we don't have space for you anyways.
Oh, man. You're... Alright. I've got to act like you guys aren't busting my balls because I'm in the wrong mindset right now.
Yeah, because you got to have balls for them to be busted.
My world is falling apart, and you guys are just... Alright, let's go.
Alright, let's do it.
3, 2, 1. This episode is brought to you by Lurk Royalty, a Twitch gaming team that puts out Call of Duty content, Rocket League content, and any epic esports matchups you can think of. If you want to check them out, go over to twitch.tv. The 3 team members are Creeper KC, you got Brazzy TTV, and Reckless_X. Go check them out over on twitch.tv.
And now, the Delirious Dads Gaming Podcast.
With your hosts, Clinton,
Hunter,
and Ryan.
As we bring you the latest in gaming news, reviews, and the newest updates on national and local esports events.
Along with great recipes for you good-looking dads. Gadgets and gifts for gaming, gags, and great deals.
And we're raising the heat as we go into gaming competition in the Delirious Dome. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Welcome to episode 110 of the Delirious Dads Gaming Podcast. I'm Clinton, a.k.a. Manly Stanley 87, a.k.a. HCW Life, a.k.a. Leandrus. And I'm here with... nobody? No friends? Is that what happened? I go to Final Fantasy and I just lose everyone?
That's what I always do, is interrupt, so I wanted to give hesitation. Let Hunter get in there, and then Hunter was like, I'm going to let Ryan be in there. And then I started looking at Hunter's shirt. I was like, man, that guy's sexy. And then he's like just disappearing into his own background because it matches. And
Hunter has the dazed and confused look going, you know?
He just from beach vacay, man. He's over here just like, hey, came back. I didn't even get time to settle in because, you know, when you get back from vacation, he didn't get to. He just straight back to like full blown work. And now he's home and he's like, is this real? Is this real life? You know?
Yeah. He's still like over there.
Real life.
I'm over here trying to figure out what's going on with my hair, guys. Forgive me. You know, I'm usually looking like a model. One thing I did notice, and I know most of the fans did, and I appreciate it.
That you're old?
I think I've got the skinniest face out of this group now. You know, it's just something.
We've got delusions. I like it.
I just think Clinton's face looks fatter because he shaved it. That's all it.
Wow.
Well, that's true. I mean, that only made him like, instead of one size bigger, now he's 2 sizes bigger. But I get what you're saying.
Okay, so we're fat shaming now. I got you. I'm above that.
I'm proud of your size, and so should you be. You should be happy and proud to have the roundest face of the three.
No. Actually, my kid asked me the other day, when are you gonna? She just said, "What, you know, you have a fat belly." I was like, "Yeah." When are you gonna have a flat belly? Like mom.
Oh, really?
And I was like, "Oh, okay, we're going there."
That's when you tell her mom gets a round belly when she's pregnant and it's flat when she has her baby. Dad is not pregnant and never going to have a baby. So it's simple. It's just science.
I took on mom's fat when she had you.
Exactly it.
Taking one for the team.
Man. Hey, we missed Hunter. I know you guys did too, even though he had his little stand-in body double. It was an exact replica of his real body last week.
A 12-pack of abs, you know, pecs of steel. Yeah. And
Look at those guns.
And then he stopped working out for a week. There you go. That's what you get.
I know. That's what happens when you let go of yourself. Look at him.
Dad bod all the way. Listen, I thought I missed Hunter until you guys just started breaking balls over here. So, you know. Hunter,
your balls are already broken. We just pointed out.
I thought I missed Hunter until we started breaking your balls, and I realized I really missed him. Like, it's just, it's like he completes this thing, you know?
That's right.
Guys.
You know what's happening? I think everybody should have like 3 days off after they get back from a vacation.
That's what I'm saying. Vacate from vacate.
For sure.
You got to have it.
You got to.
But we just got thrown in like, we got back, church is having a 4-day vacation Bible school, and we're helping. It's like, okay. Yeah,
it gets crazy.
The routine.
People talk about being jet lag. It is this weird kind of, and it's not even lying. It's from life being so disrupted with the way vacation is, with like no thoughts and no, you know what I mean, nothing to coming back to
and
the rat race.
It was an hour difference too, so there is a little bit of
jet lag there. And, yeah, for sure. Well, we're glad to have you back, and hopefully you're not stressing about this. He's so competitive.
Not at all.
He's so competitive.
I'm not stressing. I'm just a little, you know, just a little.
That's all right.
What do you call it? Spacey.
You just have to be here. That's all.
I'm Kevin Spacey.
Kevin Spacey. I wouldn't claim that, but you know.
The beautiful thing is tonight, Clint has got the bombshell news, things that people have already heard about it, but we're going to be hashing through it, and he's got enough.
But I've been grieving a little bit. You know
what I mean?
It's not like it's like me doing backflips. I'm kind of like.
No, I get what you're saying. It'd be like, hey, you know, I had this Olympic wrestler that was, you know, my ultimate, you know, idol, and I was his fanboy.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden found out his whole career was on steroids, and he was, you know, sleeping with a kid or something. You know what I mean? It's very serious. Yeah.
Did you guys see who's back, by the way?
Do what?
No.
Did you guys see who's back?
Who's back?
From where?
You?
Shady? Wrestling.
No. Clint probably did.
John Cena.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Goldberg.
Is Goldberg back too? They're bringing the oldies?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Hey, he's in phenomenal shape.
Goldberg was still alive.
I heard someone say he was 63, and I just don't think that's possible. If he is, man, he's in amazing shape. Because that boy still looks jacked. But I'm thinking it was 53, and I just misheard 63.
Well, we'll know in a second.
He's Googling it. Anyway, hey guys, that's pro wrestling games, so that's how it's gaming related. If you're sitting over here getting pissed off, okay? Sit down and take a chill pill, okay?
No, it's Delirious Dads Gaming. It's all three.
Yeah.
We're being Delirious Dads, and we're about to bring you some gaming news.
Clinton's on a roll about telling people to shut up tonight, by the way.
I am. I'm salty.
I'm
That's because I got ran over by...
on the phone, just pop, pop.
Ryan hit my buttons, and then Hunter comes in, hits my buttons, and then I got my cuz over here on the freaking chat, just totally ripping me a new one. So it's like, all right, fisticuffs, here we go, gloves off.
Goldberg was born in December 27, 1966. He's at the ripe age of 54 years old.
54. Okay.
I thought we stopped saying cuz in the 90s, by the way.
Oh no,
it just doesn't sound right when I say cuh. So.
It's really neither for us, but yes, people do still say cuz.
Well, I was too lazy to say cousin, okay? Jeez Louise, golly gee willikers.
Essentially, Clint's saying, I want you guys to know that I'm 54.
And I'm not Goldberg status.
There you go. So, guys, we've dove more into the Warzone life. We've got some wins on Resurgence. Me and Ryan dipped the toe back into the Final Fantasy 14 last night, and I'm happy to tell you that we don't have a mount that we thought we were going to get level 10. So that was, you can only rent a mount on that game.
The beautiful,
oh my gosh!
The beautiful thing is we pushed our play time to later than we should have because of work the next day, so we can get to level 10 and get that mount. Because that's what you do in MMOs. And we're going to get this mount, and then all of a sudden we found out, you can borrow the mount for a fee.
And when you get off the mount is gone.
MMOs.
But I can tell you this. We did get past some of the monotony and into a little... I did get to the point where I didn't have to read everything in some of my cinematics. They were talking. That was a beautiful thing.
Yeah. He played against the frog, the loose arm frog, dude. Yeah,
that was kind of a wacky, waving, inflatable arm flailing frog man. That was weird. I wish we had that. You watched the preview, I guess, because you did the battle too. It was weird. Where's his bones? It doesn't make any sense.
Especially
anyways,
when he does the run at you, and I was like, whoa.
Yeah, and they're like arms flailing. Anywho, I beat him. Obviously, I'm the best at any game I've ever played. But we played the game. I would say the gameplay got a little bit better. The story, we got to touch it a little bit. We didn't get him out. It's still a beautiful game. Can't lie about that. That's for sure.
You got to touch it a little bit, but you didn't get to mount.
Yes, right. This is true. Okay. I mean, it's a dead-on description.
Yep, it is.
Got to touch a little bit, but definitely did not get to mount.
That might be the name of the podcast this week.
Yeah, I like that. But I don't know. I'm having fun. I'm not having... Put it this way. I told Clint, I said, if a game like Final Fantasy wants to capture non-MMO players, like they're going to come in and try it for free, don't make the beginning so slow and monotonous. I mean, because if I wasn't playing with Clint, I would go, it's a beautiful game, but geez, and I'm out of there.
Yep.
Probably. You're just being honest.
It's very kind of monotonous and slow in the beginning because it's just, hey, take this letter to so-and-so, grab this milk and take it to this guy.
It's not like forever, right? In 4 hours, 3 hours, you could be there, where you're past that point and it's getting better. But at the same time, that's a lot. When you're checking out a new game for free, I think a lot of people will decide, not for me. There should be something a little bit more meaty there in the beginning that kind of pulls you in.
I'm real curious as to how the controller interface works. It's something we haven't really tested.
No, I haven't tried it.
I'd seen a guy playing on YouTube. He was streaming the game and he was playing with controller. And it looked interesting, like the way the spells and stuff were set up. But because you do some of the point and clicking on stuff, I just feel like that would be weird with your controller.
Right.
I just never can get into that. But
it's got to be done some other way, I'm sure, but I don't know. I'll have to look into it.
Unless you could just grab your mouse, then that would work. If you're running, then you can just go,
That'd be weird.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, Hunter, you can get back engaged. I can tell you're like, oh gosh. Somebody.
I mean, I tried to be a part of this last night, and okay. So first of all, I'll make this quick. I get on the computer. I'm excited. I'm like, I'm gonna download it. I may not get to play tonight, but I'm gonna start the download. And I go in there to start the free subscription. And so then it asks you if you have a Square Enix account. And I thought for sure I had a Square Enix account. So I put in the stuff that I use for everything gaming. Okay. And nope, didn't have it. So I was like, all right, well, maybe I don't have an account. So I make a new account. And then it makes you fill out everything all the way until you submit it. And then it goes, oh, your email is already attached to an account.
Yep, I know exactly what you're talking about. You just want...
Well, frick, I already have an account. So then I try to go back and figure out what the account is. It's not letting me through. Okay. So then I go online to SquareEnix.com, put in the same crap that I've been putting in for 2 or 3 times. It's not letting me do it. It lets me in. So then I go in there and I get to find my username because, like Clinton said, when you're applying on the thing, it doesn't let you use your email. You have to use your account name linked, to your Square Enix account. I find the correct name. I go in there and I try it again with that name and my password, and it keeps telling me it's incorrect. So then I think, well, I'll just try to change my password. So I go through the whole thing to change my password. I change my password. I log into it online again with the new password. It lets me in.
No problem.
Then I go to the app that's trying to download the thing, type in everything with my new password and hit it, and it says wrong password or ID again multiple times. And I was like, I'm not doing this. I'm really not doing this. Like, I'm not like super excited about this game anyways. So to be frustrated about it, and then I had to prepare for some sermon stuff too anyway, so I was like, sorry boys, I'm getting off.
Yeah.
That was
like if this worked, I might have stayed for a while, but it didn't at all.
It did not.
That was me the first night. If it's your guys' first time playing Final Fantasy, the way they have their worlds servers set up is very different. Okay. So you go in, you pick your world before you build your character, which actually I guess you're picking your server. I forget what they call it. And then within that server, there's worlds, right? Then you design your whole character, which is an in-depth process, right? You kind of get attached to this guy, you're doing all this stuff. Then at the end of that, you pick the world within that server that you're going to go to, only to find out none of the worlds on the server it suggested for you are available for new players to join. None of them. Not like, oh, you just clicked the wrong one. None of them are available. They're not clickable. They're not. You can't do it.
Well, and that's because it's based on the availability, right?
So then Clint jumps on.
Many people are on.
I'm thinking, remember, I'm new to MMO and stuff like that. So I'm thinking full in the sense of it's full. That's all the people that can be part of this world. That's what I'm thinking. And so you can't join. Why the freak did I build this character here? Well, Clint gets on right around then. I'm just super frustrated. I'm the same way. I'm like, hey, bro, screw this game. We're not going to play it. I wasn't super excited about it, the way Hunter put it. Right. And I was like, this is some bullcrap. I've been on here for 45 minutes waiting for you, building a character, and now that character can't play. I'm not building another character. Forget it. He was like, wait. I joined no problem last night. Clint. And then I said, bro, I'm not dumb. I checked them. You can't join. I look online, and I guess, it tells you under different congestion, like join it. You should join that world at 3 o'clock at night if you want to be part of it. Come on. That's so dumb, that we got to go in and do that. So anyways, we jumped out. We went to a different server with some different worlds who had space. But we found out your character does come over there. His looks. So if you built a character, you can't move worlds with him like that. But you can bring his appearance over and start a new character, which really, I hadn't developed that character, so it's the same thing. So I brought him over, loaded him in. We did get to the end and couldn't join the world we were going to. So we were both like, oh, no, Duke. And then it opened up and let us both in. So, yeah, definitely, if you've never played it before, just be prepared that it's not screwing you when that happens, because it does feel like it is.
Well, there is a little bit of another little shining light to that story. So last
night,
you
guys with the defense.
Yeah, here we go. So last night when I got on, I wanted to make a new character that was in Ryan's zone, the city he was in. Because I didn't want to have to try to meet up with him and all that, figure all that out. I figured we'll just be in the same town. We'll be good. So I created the character and found out that the server or the world that Ryan was on was at full capacity. And I kept refreshing and it wasn't opening up. So they were just super congested, super full. So it kept suggesting another world. So I get to looking up because I was like, man, this would just be annoying anytime you're trying to play a new character or anything like that, right? It's just going to be annoying. Well, I looked it up. As long as you're within that server world, right, then you can transfer to these other little worlds. So I got on like the Sasafada server, whatever it's called. I don't remember what it was called.
Yeah, that one.
And then I went to the little stone in the city and transferred to the fairy server with Ryan. And it worked like a charm. It took me like 20 seconds. It switched me over, had all my gear, able to do everything with him, no problem. So the key is go to the suggested little mini world, and as long as you're within that server or shard, whatever you want to call it, of servers or worlds, you can transfer within those little worlds there. So anyway, so that was kind of a good...
We don't know what long-term effects that will have because his character is actually a member of the other world. So we don't know what will happen there.
I love your dedication.
What'd you say?
I love Clinton's dedication to a game, man. He finds like the littlest sliver of things he likes, and he just will die with that turd. You know what I'm saying? Like,
here's the other thing too. I mean, I shouldn't have interrupted you, but I just got excited. I'm sorry. He'll do that until he gets you to kind of, okay, we'll play. Yeah, we're having a little bit of fun, and then it'll be a different game.
He abandoned ships.
Yep.
Well, you guys act like I hate these games and just leave. I don't hate these games and just leave.
No, you just hate us and leave us.
There's just new experiences. I want to sail the ocean with you guys. I want to shoot bad guys. I want to fly on dragons with you guys. You see what I'm saying? I want to experience the whole world of gaming with you guys. You see what I'm saying?
I hear you. Oh yeah.
And that's what it is.
It's like login screen.
Huh?
I can't get past the login screen though.
I know.
Yeah.
But it's like
Clinton's like, but Hunter, here's the thing.
Listen.
It's not their fault.
I'm Forrest Gump, and I want you guys to be my Lieutenant Dan. I want to be a shrimp boat captain. You know.
Next time you bring up a game like that is not the one we're all talking about, I'm going to say, "Run, Forrest, run."
Sea of Thieves is next, guys. Get your pirate hats ready.
I would try Sea of Thieves tonight.
Would you?
Hey,
yes.
Thieves full seas. It's time for the news.
Yeah, it is time for the news. We're getting off track here. If you guys,
it's Clinton's favorite game.
The news is?
No, the Final Fantasy. That's what we got so far off track.
It's not my favorite game. I just want to go to the casino. Okay, I want to go gamble some gil in the casino.
Fantasy again? We're trying the game. Good Lord.
All right, let's go to the news. Jeez. Bunch of rude boys over here.
Get over yourself.
Leaks for Geeks. And it's time for the Leaks for Geeks, the news for the dudes.
Or if you heard a little heavy breathing, that black hole gets me every time.
Well, guys, we're here, we're live, and we've got news. What kind of news? The best news.
Heck yeah, the best news. We're going to hit you with the best news first, and then bring that sad Olympic using drugs news at the end, okay?
The champ that was.
Hunter, what, you got something lighthearted first you want to hit, or you want me to hit my...
I don't care. It's whatever you think, bro. Mine is really quick and easy. So,
yeah, let's hit quick and easy, and then we'll hit kind of a little hard and sad, and then we'll just really depress you guys at the end.
Okay, sounds good. Well, welcome to Sports News with your favorite sportscaster from Miami. I'm just kidding. I look like I'm from Miami today, but I came back from the beach, so I had to keep the beach vibes. But we got some cool Madden news. So Madden ratings came out. Madden 22 ratings. And if you don't know what ratings are, each player is rated. And yes, it is a job that people have to go out, watch games, rate people, right? Which is crazy to me. That'd be super cool. They adjust the ratings for people. And so Madden's released a bunch of ratings in different spots. But I wanted to bring you guys the list of the top wide receivers of Madden 22. the top ratings.
Nice.
And so these ratings are between 0 and 100. Okay. And these are the overall ratings. So there's a bunch of different things that add up to a player's overall rating. Catches,
different categories and stuff like that.
And like catches in traffic, like, different things like that. Speed, contact catches, just different things like that add up to their overall.
Yeah.
Jukes and stuff. Yeah, there's different skills like that. But they announced their players' ratings of the leagues this week. They released them, and there's probably not many surprises here if you're an NFL fan and you know what receivers are out there. But I'm just gonna list these off really quick. Number one spot on the wide receivers, and it's broken up actually. We've got our veteran wide receivers and we've got our rookie wide receivers. So on our veterans list, we've got number one, Devontae Adams. He is a 99 overall. That's insane. So I don't think you can be 100 unless you go in there and whack with the overall numbers yourself. You know what I'm saying?
Like, it's going to be like either a custom player.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So Devontae Adams is coming at a 99 overall. The dude is crazy legit in real life. But that's pretty crazy to me, the 99 overall.
It is.
Next on the list, you got DeAndre Hopkins, 98 overall. Then next on the list, my boy Tyreek Hill from the Chiefs, 98 overall also.
Okay.
Then you have Stephon Diggs, 97 overall. Then after him, following up, Julio Jones, 95 overall. And followed by the last one on the veterans list, who is Michael Thomas, 94 overall.
Well, I would guess, even though these are all pretty close to each other, there's probably a couple specific attributes that one person's a little bit down in, and that would make the difference of who you want to play with, right? I mean,
yeah, for certain, like Tyreek Hill makes some pretty crazy catches, but he's fast. It's like one of the fastest in the league. Yeah, so that's what's pushing him up to that 98. And if he didn't have that speed, he'd probably be even or close to like Stephon Diggs or Julio Jones.
Okay,
that's what gets him that third spot. I'm pretty sure is that crazy speed. Okay, and the dude can catch and in tight spots and stuff. So, so that's our veteran wide receivers list, and then our top rookies are number one, Jalen Waddle at 76 overall, and of course these are going to be lower because they're veterans. They're rookies. They got to take a little time to get a better rating. Jamar Chase is second at 75 overall. Okay. Devontae Smith, 75 overall. Elijah Moore, 73 overall. Kadarius Toney is at 72 overall. And Rashad Bateman is at 72 overall. So you get a lot of 70s in that category. Those rookies coming out, aren't going to have the highest. You give them a couple of years.
Do you think, based on what you know of these players, do you think that's accurate for the rookies? For them being the 70s? I don't know
for the rookies, but it sounds, like I know Devonta Smith. I've seen some Jalen Waddle. Yeah. Here's the thing, you can judge a wide receiver easily on what they've coming out of college looking like, but you can't judge them in Madden NFL until you see how they match up against the defensive end across from them. I was
going to say, these ratings are done by watching gameplay, not real play, and so
by them playing in the NFL.
Oh, the ratings are done from the NFL?
Based on their career stats.
And then
they adjust them in the game.
Okay. Yes. I thought you meant this is an outside source, not the game maker. An outside source watching gameplay and saying, hey, we're rating how these players were designed. Okay.
These actually affect how good the guys are in the game. So
these are the real rating systems that game company has put on the real game time.
Based on their real performance in real life.
Okay. Gotcha.
So it's a collaborative
thing. Easy to think about, there's a new little short show about how these guys, they'll have them out to the field and say, okay, you want to increase your catch rating? Well, we're going to do these things. And they put them in these situations and they do this drill. And if they complete it, then the guy adjusts their rating by 1 or 2 or whatever, on Madden. And it's just kind of a fun show. But anyways, so that's what I'm saying about these rookies. There may be some of them that are actually 80s or 90s, but you don't know until you watch them play a year or two or a couple of years in the NFL because they're not matching up. It's a big difference going from college to NFL. The guys are faster, they're bigger. It's just a different game.
And
so you kind of have to
just 10 years compared to
yeah. And so so you just have to. They have to give them some time to really average out what they're good at.
Is there a specific site that somebody can go to if they want to check all the ratings for quarterbacks for everybody?
I'm pretty sure you can go to Madden.com or you can just search on Google Madden 22 ratings and it'll pop up, mostly everybody. Other than that, if you wait and get the game, you can always check ratings on the game.
Now, does Madden update stats throughout the season, throughout the year?
Yes.
Okay.
That's part of their updates. If they feel like somebody mid-season needs to be adjusted, then it is.
Okay.
So if someone's playing crappier in real life, they get crappier in the game?
Yeah.
I like it.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Now, how about injury stuff? Like if you're doing like a real season type thing where you're playing in like a league, right? Would they count injuries against?
I think it depends on the game mode that you're playing. I know for sure if you're playing like NBA and Madden and the NFL Madden and stuff like that, they've gotten better recently about updating rosters weekly. Okay. And so if somebody's hurt, they'll take them off the roster list. Now you can go in there and say that you don't want real roster. If you're going in there just to play like a exhibition game
in a league, competitively or something like that. And all of a sudden your team gets screwed because of the real life. Yeah, I'd be pissed. I'd be like, no freaking way.
Know that there is like rules and stuff that you can agree to when you go into some of those where they'll take the player out if he is hurt. So
that would be the league or the tournament or whatever you're doing. It would be up to their
it just depends. Yeah, it is possible though. If what you're asking, it's just not always the case. You can always change that kind of stuff in game. Who can play and who's not, even if they're on if they're add-on.
That's cool.
Questionable or whatever it is, but yeah.
Okay. Very nice. I'm enjoying the sports updates you've been bringing lately. By the way, it's a good change of pace because I feel like we do a lot of shooters. We talk about a lot of shooters in here. We do a lot of horror games, but we don't always get a lot of the sports in. So I'm glad that you've been purposely trying to sprinkle in more sports for us.
Yeah, we need to.
I love it. I love sports. I love sports and gaming.
Got to spread the love to the fans. Different people love different games. Gaming is a broad spectrum.
It is.
Well, gaming's a broad spectrum depending on what state you live in. May I ask, what do you mean, Ryan? Well, nowadays gaming PCs are killing the environment. They are really wrecking things enough to ban them in 6 states. Do you think? No, you must be joking, right? It's got to be Ryan is being sarcastic because he's a little over the top sometimes, and he's very politically obvious one side sometimes. I get it. Trust me, guys. But no, this is true to the point that Dell has now come out and posted in their sales that some of their high-end, high-spec Aurora gaming PCs, which are their, Dell makes Alienware if you guys have been living under a rock. So some of their higher-end gaming PCs will not ship to these states who have banned high-end gaming PCs due to energy usage issues. These states is as follows, with the leader in the head of the beast being California, no surprise there. Colorado, Hawaii, Oregon, Vermont, and Washington. Now, there were some regulations put out. They said all the way back in 2016, but they haven't really been followed. Nobody kind of really cared about them too much. And then the California, what's it called? CEC, that's the California Energy Commission, Tier 2 implementation. They defined the mandatory energy efficiency standards for PCs, including desktops, AIOs, and mobile gaming systems. How can they define it for mobiles too? I don't know, guys.
How do mobiles use that much energy?
But they did, guys.
I want to see that phone, guys.
It's California, and they do things that Yeah, nobody knows how, but they do.
Maybe that's just a thing like in the future whenever your phone's the size of your head.
I don't know. So they started pushing this big over there, which I guess pushed Dell over the edge. And Dell just said, hey, we already know we're not supposed to be sending to these other 6 states or whatever. California is basically telling us no, and it sounds like they're enforcing it. And so we're not gonna. So if you place an order for one of those gaming PCs in one of those states, Dell will automatically cancel the order. It's not even it's not an option.
So we're gonna have some bootlegging computers then.
Hey, you're not even just gonna have a bootleg. Listen, guys, if you live somewhere close or anywhere and you have your hands on good shipping, all you gotta do is be a receiving center, right? Yeah, you're not the manufacturer. You take it.
They'll be going across state line, pick it up, take it back.
Yeah. You can still ship it over there. The shipping companies aren't going to check any of that stuff. It's not like you're shipping, battery acid or whatever. Dell doesn't want their hands in the middle of it, right?
Right.
So you say, hey, ship it to me, $50. I ship it to you. I'm a handler. That's all.
Ryan's got his new business, guys. There you go. PC shipper, baby.
It's just crazy to me. What? Come on. Come on. If we're going to do this, then we should limit the size of some of these fridges, right?
Oh, man.
I mean, there's houses that have 5 fridges. You say, no, they don't. Yes, they do. They have 2 wine fridges. Sometimes they have a whole wine cellar not old school. Some of them are refrigerated now, okay? Yeah. And then you've got a freezer usually out in the garage or the shop. Mm-hmm. And then you've got this fridge that's 4.5 foot wide.
Yeah, they're commercial
houses now. Yes, in the houses though, people have these.
Yeah, they're commercial.
And you're going to tell me that we can't have a gaming PC? I don't care how powerful that gaming PC is. It's not pulling what that stuff's pulling. It's not simple as that.
I got super pissed when you told me this earlier because, for instance, California. We're going to pick on California. Yeah. Disneyland, Universal Studios, come on, guys. You might want to shut some of that stuff down. That's a big power spender.
Six Flags, Marine World,
my gosh.
Malls. There's huge malls out in California. I mean, come on, guys. Look, just because you're a huge mall and you say, hey, I'm new and green and we build this huge, so we're going to do everything energy, doesn't mean your overall footprint isn't still huge, right? Mm-hmm. That doesn't mean anything. Of course, Six Flags and all that are updating their lights, their motors, everything more efficient to save them money. That's to save them money. They may tell you that it's to, help the environment. That's for their face. They're saving face. They're changing that stuff. But their overall footprint is still huge. It's massive. Just because it's 50% less doesn't matter because it was still 2,000 times more. So how are they going to tell a house that you can't have a gaming PC?
Yeah, if you can still see their lights from 15 miles out, that's a lot of energy, no matter how much.
Welcome to China. I said it.
That's crazy to me. Yeah. So does it say what this article may not say it because it sounds like it's specifically from Dell's point of view, but does it say what the repercussions are if you have a gaming rig that's passed? Is it just a fine or what?
You'd have to read the stuff, but it says right here. It says, well, many of the regulations seem to be largely inspired by the similar standard issued by Energy Star, which most of the Energy Star stuff has been pretty decent. It's not outrageous. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Especially when it comes to expensive power draw for idle PCs. So that's one of the problems is when you're leaving them running, like Big Rye does. I leave mine on. I don't turn it off. Me and Clint, we have discrepancies on our theories here. But if you do research, you'll see it's both ways. Some guys say it's better for your PC to have it on. Yeah, starting it and shutting it off is the worst thing for some of the components. And some people say, yeah, but you're obviously putting way more wear and tear. Would you leave your car sitting there running? Mm-hmm. I get what you're saying. This isn't a car, though. It's a PC. Yeah. So it works differently. I may be wrong. I wouldn't leave your computer running if it's in a warm room. That would be a bad idea. Mm-hmm. So
how warm is your room right about now?
70. It's chilling in here.
You got the AC going. That's right.
Yeah, I can turn the AC off when we game because not all the time, guys. But when we play on Discord, it's got sound canceling. It's on right now. You hear there's no background noise. It's beautiful. Discord's beautiful. But we do join the, Xbox companion app or whatever it's called when we play with some friends who don't have Discord. Because who knows why Xbox doesn't have Discord? Makes no sense. Yeah. But they don't. So when we join there, it's like, oh, is there a flea crawling in the background? Let me pick that up. and it takes up everything.
But it's only on Ryan's mic, which is weird. Because usually the sound comes more from me and Hunter's mic. So
but that's because the kind of mic that I have versus your guys. It's a different kind of mic.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we're not used to that because we play on Discord all the time.
Yeah.
Anywho, I'm about done with this story, guys. I'm skimming real quick to make sure to see if it gives us a, hey, here's your whammy of a file.
Okay. I just had to ask questions, didn't I?
Yeah, no, it's not a bad question. Just want to make sure real quick that there's not something obvious in here.
They take away one game if you get caught with it.
I feel like even just regular, like, there's people who have jobs that have to use, upscale computers to process things.
Yeah, like what do you do? Like what's Hollywood going to do when they're using these massive computers to run their CGI stuff? Massive computers,
I don't care. Yeah. Okay, one regulation stipulates that all computer monitors manufactured after July 1st, 2019 ship a screen luminance less than or equal to, nobody knows what this means, 200 CD/M2 plus minus 35%. Nobody knows what that means. So, but that does mean that even the screens are being regulated. It's like, I'm being so real when I say this, guys. Your vacuum definitely pulls more than that screen. You know what I mean? It's just, let's be real. Anything that has a motor on it, right, is going to for sure. Your fan. Nobody's telling you can't have your fan on your ceiling for hours all day. And I guarantee the most efficient fan there is pulls more than that screen that's inefficient.
You take away fans from the American people, there will be a civil war.
Oh, dude. I don't want to talk about that. That's like my heck.
And I'll be right there, bro. I got to have my 2 fans going at night when I sleep.
Yes, dude. I would.
There are a few more details here that will just bore you guys. So that's it for that story. To me, it's mind blowing. I don't understand it at all. It's crazy.
Well, thank you for that news.
What's next? You know what I mean? I'm not gonna go there. We'll drop it.
He said, "We'll drop it." Well, it's about to get darker, so I think Ryan's pulling back a little bit.
Next is the California people leaving.
They are by the droves. They're moving like crazy.
Well,
they're moving to Texas, and they've been like, how can we make it more energy efficient here?
That's exactly what they're doing.
We ain't making it energy efficient. This is America. All right.
You just left that, and you're trying to create it here.
For those of you who are in Dallas and are about energy efficiency, we did not mean to offend.
Yeah, no. That's your home.
I'm not against energy efficiency. Everything I sell is LED because of that. I get it. Yeah, because they last longer and it's better. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is I'm not going to tell a customer, hey, you can't have that many Christmas lights. It's regulated according to the Oklahoma State, blah, 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 code number 693. Shut up.
See, I get that good old, old school, let's get, the Christmas lights that might burn down the tree this year.
Right,
and we wrap about 600 lights around that thing.
They're hot enough that you don't need a fire. I get it.
Yeah.
You don't use LED lights, Clinton?
No. I mean,
dude,
I guess Ryan said some. Yeah, I guess Ryan said some of them are, even though they don't say they're LED, they're still like powered down a little bit. But I'll tell you this much: I knew I put too many on last year. Whenever I plugged in, I added 2 more strands and put that last strand on. Boom! Took out half the tree. So I realized, hey,
he does have LEDs outside, guys.
Yeah.
He's got some LEDs inside, but he's also super cheap. Like when it comes to anything that's not gaming. So he's got stuff that's in there that's been there forever, and that's on his tree. That's why it's incandescent. Because you can't even buy incandescents anywhere now.
Yeah, we have like lights. They're like 8 years old, so they could be a little faulty at this point.
Right.
Yeah. So sometimes
Too anxious for that stuff. I lie awake at night my wife thinking about how I can prevent fires.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, I guess it's time, isn't it? It's time for me to profess what's been going on in the world of Activision.
No, before you do that, because I don't want to do it later, and it completely doesn't fit in, but I'm going to throw it in anyways, because Clint was mad at me for not telling him. This is news, but it's dad news. My daughter, if any of you guys listen, she does Ninja Warrior, practice. She doesn't compete yet. She's 8 years old. But she was doing the rings this last week. kid in front of her was sweaty because it was super hot and humid outside in Oklahoma, and she reached for one of a high ring, swung hard, hand slipped right off of it, broke both bones in her wrist. So, and it was a kind of break you've never even heard of, called a wrinkle fracture. Like I've heard of spiral fractures and hairline fractures and all these things. This is actually more like a compression of the bone, to where the bone, like if you were to wrinkle a blanket, it kind of folds over itself. That's kind of what the bone did. Like there's a little wrinkle on each bone.
Yeah, that's only being younger kids.
Yeah, it's only younger people. Yeah.
Yeah.
So she said it'll just grow and straighten itself back out and everything. But
because it's softer.
It has hurt. Yeah, because it's soft. Yep.
It wasn't both wrists.
No, just one. Yep.
Okay. When I read the post, I thought it was both wrists, and I was like, that is rough.
That would be rough. Yeah, because she said both bones in her or something like that. I read the same thing.
Both, and I thought, oh man, she broke both her wrists.
And that's how Ryan's bestie finds out about his daughter's wrist break. Is that Clint's friend out at the beach? Okay, that's not even in state. Text Ryan and said, "Hey, what did Rory do to her wrist?" And I'm like, "What?" So then I have to go into Facebook and search it up.
If you follow
I've been playing games with Ryan for 3 nights. He's not said anything to me.
Yeah, thanks for telling everybody I don't care about my kid, or my friends, all in one fell swoop.
I was more like,
Clinton doesn't care about you. He should be updating himself on your Facebook page every once in a while.
I'm just messing with you. I'm that guy. Oh yeah, sorry, I forgot to tell you guys. Got in a wreck. My car's totaled. Almost died, but we're good. This is like 3 weeks later. I am that guy. Yeah. So.
Yeah, it was crazy. Wow.
Yeah,
but the whole time he's got scars on his face, and Clint never asks. It's just me.
Been in the ICU for a week. And I'm like every night.
I'm like, Ryan, where have you been for a week? And you got scars on your face. You all right? And then you tell us, and Clinton's like, "But you didn't tell me, bro."
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I was incapacitated. Don't remember any of it.
Oh my gosh.
And I'll be right there by the bedside, telling bro, I want to thump you in the head. All right.
Yeah, drop the bomb on us.
Give us the whammy.
Here we go.
It's not new news, but there's all kinds of new news within.
Well, it just keeps happening. New. Like more new news keeps coming every day, and I'm like
when people say the poop hit the fan and it spreads and gets everywhere, that's what's happening.
Yes.
Last time we talked about this, the poop was launched, and now it's hit the fan.
Yeah. So we have talked about on here about the how people are leaving World of Warcraft due to slow updates and the game not being. People feeling like the game isn't as good as it could be. So you're like, okay, we get you. Well, then Blizzard gets criticized for the Warcraft 3 Reforged, which we had covered before. But, some reporter out there just decided, hey, I'm going to pick on Blizzard this week. So he just basically rips them and says, hey, they still haven't fixed your game.
Mm-hmm.
Just so you know, still not fixed. So that didn't bode well. It just kept pissing people off. And then, voila, we get a lawsuit, guys. And not just like, a group of women with some people decided they were going to do a little lawsuit with a legal company. No. It's much bigger than that. It's actually by the state of California. So,
no surprise.
Surprise.
Yeah. So it's like, oh, this is horrible. Horrible
These
situation.
motherfuckers hate gaming.
Yeah.
Kidding.
So, it's been a crazy week for Activision-Blizzard. And, just bad news overall for everybody involved. So, it's really hurt the Blizzard community. Like, people are just distraught. And I'm actually one of the people that have been like, dang. This, like Ryan said, it's like looking up to the Olympic champion that you loved and finding out you're just like every other dirty dog. So, anyway, Here we go. This first part of the article is from Game Informer, and this kind of breaks down the lawsuit, so we'll go into that first. It says, the California Department of Fair Employment and Housing has filed a lawsuit against Activision Blizzard after years of investigation. The reason for the suit centers around violations of the state's civil rights and equal pay laws, specifically regarding the treatment of women and other marginalized groups. The lawsuit charges the environment within Activision Blizzard as hosting a frat boy culture. That was in quotes. The studio is also being called a breeding ground for harassment and discrimination against women. The lawsuit documents report alleges that Activision Blizzard has many women fending off unwanted sexual comments and being groped during what is being called a cube crawl. So it says here on the official document, it says, in the office, women are subjected to cube crawls, in which male employees drink copious amounts of alcohol as they crawl their way through various cubicles in the office and often engage in inappropriate behavior toward female employees. Male employees proudly come into work hungover, play video games for long periods of time during work while delegating their responsibilities to female employees, engage in banter about their sexual encounters, and talk openly about female bodies and joke about, quote, rape. According to the report, sexual harassment and misconduct even resulted in one woman committing suicide during the work trip with her supervisor so I need to stop here because I didn't say this earlier. This is going to obviously contain mature content and things that could be offensive. So rewind back after the rape comment, and you might want to skip forward if this is going to offend you or upset you. Okay, anyway. So it says here that that one incident resulted in a woman committing suicide during her work trip with her supervisor, who reportedly brought butt plugs and lubricant in hopes of coercing her into unwanted relations. And then it says the report claims that many attempts were made to talk to HR from victims for any sort of resolution and go up the chain of command for assistance. Employees were further discouraged from complaining as human resource personnel was known to be close to alleged harassers. It says also, as a result of these complaints, female employees were subjected to retaliation, including but not limited to being deprived of work on projects, unwillingly transferred to different units, and selected for layoffs. Also included in the lawsuit is a pay gap between male and female co-workers, which alleges that many women are offered a similar role as male counterpart at a much lower compensation rate. The document also reports that many of the women under the Activision-Blizzard umbrella felt they needed to work harder and longer than their male counterparts for a chance at the same opportunities within the company. Says here that Game Informer reached out to Activision-Blizzard spokesperson about the lawsuit, and they responded with the following statement. So this is a little lengthy, but basically they kind of came out and said that they take allegations that are true seriously, and basically kind of blow it off like, this hasn't been proven. They actually throw out a little bit of frustration with the state of California. I feel like they're kind of villainizing them. Now on the suicidal part, I did hear a video. I didn't actually read it, but one individual said that I guess that incident was through the Activision party, so that wasn't necessarily at Blizzard. So they were kind of, I guess he wanted to specify that because people were thinking that was included in the Blizzard workplace. But anyway, so yeah, that was the first part. And then we have here that Mike Morhaime, who's the former head of Blizzard Entertainment, he's the founder, one of the original people. He made a statement on Friday. He says here, let's see. He said, it's all very disturbing and difficult to read. I am ashamed. It feels like everything I thought I stood for has been washed away. What's worse, but even more important, real people have been harmed, and some women had terrible experiences. Morhaime states that while he tried very hard to create an environment that was safe and welcoming for people of all genders and backgrounds, harassment and discrimination exist. They are prevalent in our industry. It is the responsibility of leadership to keep all employees feeling safe, supported, and treated equitably, regardless of gender and background. It is the responsibility of leadership to stamp out toxicity, harassment in any form across all levels of the company. To the Blizzard women who experience any of these things, I am extremely sorry that I failed you. In his conclusion, he apologizes and again and calls for women to share their stories. And then we'll just kind of skip through that because he continues on.
Who was this again?
This is Mike Morhaime. He was the original founder.
Okay.
So we are finding out through this that these problems weren't just through the whole Activision thing. This is actually, as they've investigated, it sounds like this has been further back, even under the old guard leadership.
In all reality, I would say there's a high chance that it was worse further back, right? I mean, that's what we're finding out in all of these kind of lawsuits and stuff is that, back then, the older, the more of that there was, and it was looked at as just a big, big party. You're making millions of dollars and you're blowing up. And we were talking off air, and I think we were off air when we were talking. I was telling you, hey, these guys back then, they're just doing a bunch of blow. You have to go that far back to be in that era. If you're talking about the 90s, which is Blizzard for sure, right?
Yeah, that means they grew up in the 80s.
Yeah, those guys are. It was just a huge part. We're making so much money. We're making money making video games. I mean, that's such a new industry. I'm not saying in any way that it's okay. What I'm saying is that environment was the perfect environment for just all kinds of horrible stuff to happen. You get what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
Because it's like watch Wolf of Wall Street. I guarantee there were some gaming companies, and that was what the office was. It was just crazy.
Oh, yeah. And there's a thought on that I want to come back to when I finish, because I want to get kind of through the rest of my stuff before I kind of say my thoughts. But there was a couple things that struck me as I've been listening, and there's just a lot of anger from the community. So obviously these guys are going to be just straight up as evil as it gets right now, right? People are very emotional, and so I'm trying to look at it from like, yeah, I get emotional about it too, thinking, because when I first heard about it, I'll be honest, I thought, oh, it's another sexual allegation charge, right? It's just another. We've seen this happen to was it Riot Games and some of these other companies, and it's like, okay, sounds like this is, but it sounds like here there was
and
more actual.
You're saying that a lot of times these sexual allegation charges are upplayed.
Right.
There's usually the problem is there's usually real girls, real women who were treated badly, and whether they were molested or just sexually harassed or whatever happened, right? And it seems like in a lot of these cases there's a bunch of other stuff piled on top of it that maybe didn't really happen, and that's not just bad for the company. That's bad for the girls who it actually happened. It's not right. It's not how those kind of situations should be handled. Yeah.
And so here it's just kind of like, oh, there's other stuff when you start including pay differences and, if they were showing up drunk playing video games and, hey, do my work. It makes me upset because it's also like, well, is this what's been happening with these games that have been halfway done? And, you know what I'm saying? You start kind of thinking through some inconsistencies that they've had with their quality of product. And you're sitting here thinking, oh, it's because they're so slammed.
There's partying.
Well, now it's like, well, no, they were partying on your dime. And that's why you had to wait longer. But I don't know. So there's a lot.
In a sense, that's normal for any industry, though. Yeah, I mean, you shouldn't be doing all the stuff that's illegal, per se. But
I mean, not on the clock, though. I would hope that's not normal, right?
No, it's definitely normal. In the sense, I mean, what's on the clock? That's the thing you got to think about, right? So if you're self-employed, everything's on the clock, right?
Yeah.
And if the business is failing, it's because I didn't put more time into it. So if you've got a bigger company and there's 10 big partners, they could always pour more time into it. But if you're coming from hey, we're just regular working guys, put it in perspective. You got me, you, and Hunter. Just regular work guys. We're always grinding it out. All of a sudden, we just become some huge superstars on YouTube, and we're making millions. Chances are we're going to be doing some partying. You know what I mean? In the sense of, we're going to be having fun. We might not be doing cocaine and doing lines and, sniffing girls' butt cheeks or whatever the freak these guys are doing, because that's not who we are. But what I'm talking about is we might, be on the lake or traveling or going to freaking We're going to do some stuff. And in a sense, you could say that's on your dime, but you better bet be doing it.
I guess I'm specifically speaking to like in the cubicles, in the actual, we're developing the game. And hey, Clint just went and got in that freaking Jack Daniels, and it's going to be a long day. You know what I'm saying? That's the kind of stuff I'm like, I don't mind them going to the beach and partying.
You have those reports saying that the guys come in hungover and then they hand down their work to people who aren't even working on, like, doing that project.
Thing.
That's when you start thinking, okay, well, I've been paying these guys a subscription, and we want, as a community, we want to see a better product, and obviously they don't care.
Right.
Not that all of them don't.
Hold on. I don't run down a rabbit hole too far. What I'm saying is, it's not okay. Making sure everybody knows this. I'm saying it is normal. Even if you go to a plumbing company and the guy is like, used to be, the bottom guy. He's gotten him like that supervisor on the big hospital job. It's very common that he's sitting there in a big tractor and he's drinking or smoking
Budweisers or whatever. Yeah, before he goes in.
And that's what I'm saying. It's not the right thing to do, but it's very normal in the workplace when somebody moves up, gets enough money and responsibility to where the point it's like, hey, I'm really just delegating. I don't really have to do much. Yeah, those guys kind of go off the deep end. That's a normal thing in the workforce.
Right, but these guys, that's not what it sounded like they were talking about. It wasn't saying the CEOs were doing that. It was saying the guys in the company
like the
were coming in.
Supervisors within the office.
Well, yeah, it still said supervisors. It just said the men.
Yeah.
When you read that report, it just said the men.
That's true. I guess I read that as supervisor, but yeah, you're
talking
right.
Every there, if the allegations are true, obviously there's allegations. It's not we don't know for sure yet.
Right.
But if what they're saying is true, it's just saying the men were coming in and passing their responsibilities off on the women because they didn't want to do them or they were drunk, still hungover or whatever because they're partying too hard. And that's like you're saying, Clinton, that's not that the women aren't capable of getting the job done, but there should be more people working on it.
Right. Yeah, it should be an equal load here.
A bro mode type situation where the manager doesn't care when the guys do that because he's a guy and they're a guy. Mm-hmm. And the girls, they've got to pick up the slack. Yes, if that's what's going on. That's
like you're saying, Ryan. I completely get that because everybody wants to be the CEO. You know why? Because they get to sit back and watch the magic happen.
Exactly,
and then they get to do what they want. That's why everybody wants to be a foreman.
Mm-hmm.
Because they sit back and watch the work go on. And
you're right, though. When Clint read that article, my mind, because I'm a sexist pig, automatically qualified those guys as the guys who were supervisors or something like that.
I did the same thing, right? I just said, and Hunter was like, "No, it said men, Clint." He had to correct me.
Right? Yeah.
Just the way my brain's wired.
That's what infuriates me. That's what infuriates me. It's like, you'll have these guys too that'll sit back and say, "Well, the girls didn't like it; they could quit." No, that's bullcrap. These girls are coming in here. These women are coming in here, and their dream is to do this probably.
Right, to do artwork for the game or
make games, work on games, and work on these projects. And then you have these people who are, telling them they need to do this, this, and this, and hopefully it's not true, but asking them to do sexual acts to keep their job, or else they go in the layoff line. That's just disgusting.
Yeah,
I mean, that's just like that sucks so bad.
Now, Mr. Mike Morhaime, he put that out, and I read it, and I thought, okay, I can digest that. Sounds like he's truly sorry. But other people, other ex-employees, actually kind of called him out. So it says here that some former Blizzard employees found fault with Morhaime's statement. Cher Scarlett, a former software engineer at Blizzard, said she had a hard time believing Morhaime did not know about men in leadership being repeatedly excused for their behavior. Connie Griffith, a game developer who left Blizzard in 2011, responded to Morhaime's tweet, "Well, I appreciate this, Mike. I also know there was no way you didn't know how toxic, for example, the two Robs were," she said, "and I was there, and I know you knew on some level, but in the end, we didn't matter to you." There's also some other stuff where it was like, problems were brought to Mike Morhaime, and he didn't. It was just kind of okay. Let's kind of push that to the side. Also, ex-Blizzard dev Chris Metzen, who did a lot of the story in World of Warcraft, he did like an official Twitter post. He's kind of around the same lines. He said, "There's no excuse. We failed too many people when they needed us because we had a privilege of not noticing, not engaging, not creating necessary space for colleagues who needed us as leaders." He said, "Words are cheap. Not sure what grand, sweeping promises really do either. Accountability starts with people, not corporations or platitudes or values cast in iron around a statue." He's making reference to Blizzard has a statue outside of their company of an orc with a hammer, and it has 8 core values, which one of them is every voice matters, lead responsibility, that kind of stuff. Metzen goes on, "Unless we as individuals, and by we I mostly mean men, start to walk in far greater awareness compassion and empathy for the women around us in the whole of our lives, not just at work, then nothing changes. We must consistently and thoughtfully model this behavior to those around us, hold each other accountable, and listen to every stage of the game. So he caught some slack too from people because he worked closely to a former creative director in Blizzard his name was Alex Faziabi, I think is how you say his name. And he was actually named specifically in the Activision lawsuit. Let's see here. It says on page 15, Faziabi was permitted to engage in blatant sexual harassment with little to no repercussions, and that he would harass female employees during BlizzCon. There was also some reports, I guess, of fans at BlizzCon, female fans, who would let them know, hey, he was, he might say certain things. And it just nothing was ever, from what we understand, nothing was done with him. He actually left, I think, mid-2020 for, I don't think it was necessarily thrown out there what it was for, but I think it was for this kind of stuff. They finally just, either he left or they told him to leave, something along those lines. And there's actually a video out right now that people started passing around of BlizzCon 2010 video where a lady came up and it was a female fan. They had a Q&A where the devs would be up on the stage, and she basically said, we love the female characters, but when are we going to start making characters that aren't so sexual? So less boobs, butt, that kind of thing. Well, she kind of put it as, I think it was, when are we going to start making the characters not all look like they came out of Victoria's Secret catalog? And actually, Alex Faziabi, whatever his name is, he made the comment to her. He says in the deal, well, what other catalog would you like for me to pull from? Up there on stage. And they were all laughing. It was kind of that banter, amongst guys, locker room talk. But when you look back at it and that guy was involved in some of that, you're just kind of like, probably wasn't the best thing to say.
Yeah, but man, if you've ever played World of Warcraft, there's plenty of non.
Oh yeah, she actually got booed when she asked the question. Like a good amount of men booed her. So
yeah, because it's not even that kind of, what I mean. Yeah, there's some like if you were to compare it to Final Fantasy, like we're playing right now. Come on.
Oh yeah,
World of Warcraft is much more.
I see some sexual stuff on Final Fantasy already.
Well, I mean, it's marketing, guys. I hate that. I know that sounds chauvinistic, but the people for years past, the majority of the people buying the game are men, and so they're going to market towards those men. And I'm all for, hey, treat these women right in the workplace and all this, but I'm not going to stand here and act like I'm that guy that goes, yeah, we shouldn't have sexualized characters. I'm not that guy. It's called marketing. If you're marketing to men that want sexualized characters, then you're going to make sexualized characters.
There's women out there that want that too.
Yeah, there is. Yeah, exactly. Just men. So, but that's what I'm saying. It's going to be to your market.
But I think it would be, and I'm more on this stance. I think it would be good though. Let's, you can put some different shaped female characters out there for the people that want that.
But we do. Haven't we played freaking Overwatch? Come on.
Yeah, no, I know they've done it. They've done it in Overwatch. I'm talking specifically in WoW. In this case, because I know in Overwatch they have. You've got
WoW, you got little girl dwarfs, don't you? Are they sexy?
I see where you're going with this.
I'm just saying, aren't there different characters that are women that look like orcs and stuff like that?
Yeah.
I'm sure they're not thin with hourglass figures. So that's where I'm going. I don't understand where she's coming from.
I think it's more. I don't know.
I haven't played the game that much, so I'm really asking.
I'm not saying primarily she's speaking to like the females, humans, the elves, the Draenei are kind of a sexy look. But
the men aren't. The men are slobs. They're fat with neck beards
or they're just just the masculine
archetype. They follow a certain mold, that's attractive to society at that time. The men too? Golly, it's crazy. All right, sorry.
So then we got another article here that just says that Activision-Blizzard employees are staging a walkout on Wednesday, July 28th in response to the company's handling of sexual harassment allegations brought on by the state of California.
They're going to join Frito-Lay's.
So
they've been on strike too.
Have they?
Mm-hmm.
It says here that employees will meet outside Blizzard's main campus in Irvine at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. They say, we believe that our values as employees are not being accurately reflected in the words and actions of our leadership, the organizers said in a statement. Also, leading back to the Chris Metzen part, hold on here, where's he at? Well, I just had it earlier. Where the freak did he go? Hold on, boys and girls. I thought it was on this article. Maybe it's on Mike Morheim's article here. Well, dang, I thought I had it highlighted.
The bad news is they're walking out. The good news is it's only gonna put your game behind by a week because they weren't working on it anyways.
Yeah. Okay. Here we go. Senior system designer on the game of World of Warcraft, Jeff Hamilton, put out on a Twitter post on Saturday. He said, "I can tell you almost no working is being done on World of Warcraft right now while this obscenity plays out." So, I mean, they're not even working right now. This thing's got them. I mean, it's been a nightmare for the corporation of Activision-Blizzard.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, this
stocks plummeted. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, they did come out and said, now all of a sudden they kind of changed their tune, right? People are just getting so mad. Content creators are abandoning them. I mean, it's been nuts. So Blizzard now says they're undertaking efforts to make the company and its games more inclusive and welcoming, including immediate action in Azeroth to remove references that are not appropriate for our world. They announced this today. The past days have been a time of reflection for the World of Warcraft team, spent in conversation and contemplation, full of sadness, pain, and anger, but also hope and resolve. And then they go on to say, the World of Warcraft team said it is seeking guidance from team members in internal work to protect marginalized groups and hold accountable those who threaten them. The team added, "We also want to take immediate action in Azeroth to remove references that are not appropriate for our world. This work has been underway and will be seeing several changes to both Shadowlands and WoW Classic in the coming days." The complaint alleges that here it is. So they don't really specify what they're going to take out of the game. Because I was sitting there thinking, man, that could be a huge undertaking, because what is offensive or inappropriate to one may not be offensive and inappropriate to another.
Don't get me started on freedom of speech.
So this is where I'm like, I don't know what all they could do, because you're going to end up stripping the game pretty bare bones if you follow this path. But a lot of people are assuming they're talking about Afraziabi, Alex Afraziabi. They said here that he has at least 2 NPCs in the game. You have Field Marshal Afraziabi and Lord Afrazatraz. They currently bear the name of the developer, along with a number of items. And as a result of the claims in the lawsuit, including allegations,
it's got to be some other things in the game, like phrases. It's got to be some other phrases or things like that they say in the game. It can't just be this guy's name.
Statues. Do they got any statues that are?
I don't know. I don't know what all they have referencing him or.
Well, the way they worded that when you read it a minute ago sounded more like, things that we say.
I think it's going to be references to him. I don't know.
Maybe.
We'll see. They haven't specified. They left it very vague. But I've seen people on Twitter kind of shooting back at that, like, okay, good for you. You're taking some stuff out of the game, but what does that do?
Right.
And I kind of feel the same way. I'm like, oh, okay. So this is just, to me, a PR thing.
That's what it all is. Just like the 2 statements made by the other 2 leaders. Yeah, they knew. There's no way you run a company and don't know what's going on unless you've been just the owner and you're gone, right? But that's not the case. We're talking about the CEOs, the people that were right. They know. Yeah, they know. Yeah, for sure.
So that's all the articles that I've got. Bobby Kotick of Activision, he came out and basically denounced these previous statements by Activision Blizzard, which was like Friday, the ones that were kind of aggressive towards California some other things. Because I think one of the things they were mad at California about was basically what California, they were like, this is why companies are getting ran out of California, was basically like the gist of it. I'm thinking, in my mind, no. Because the stuff with the other companies was more to do with like COVID restrictions and things like that. This is a little different because this is within your own company.
There's a lot of this stuff that does happen in California, to where it is right now looked at very strongly, guilty until proven innocent. That's kind of a big battle when it comes to sexual harassment charges in California. There's a lot of counter lawsuits going on where people's names were defamed and dragged through the mud, and then you find out that it didn't happen.
Yeah, or it was that happened with some celebrities too, right?
Right, like and there's that specific in California because California is very, like they're super aggressive in this charge against it, which I understand, but there's still a due process, right? There's a right way that those things should be done. Yeah, it's just like we have you can't be a juror in a case that you're too involved in. Well, that line is blurring more and more nowadays because the media does everything they can to convince everybody of the truth before any judge has ever made a judgment, and there's no jury. So then you've got this, how do we even get non-biased jurors in here on these big profile cases? And all that used to be much, much easier to monitor. Well, now you've got this kind of stuff, and you got someone like a power like California, which is like a country in and of itself. They've got, if you're talking about even a company, a really big company like Blizzard, Activision, they're not anything compared to California, right? And so if you're comparing the two, I get where they're coming from. Hey, California's kind of strong-arming companies. They're kind of, doing some of that stuff like we just talked about with the power usage on a PC. And so I don't, I get where he's coming from. Wrong timing, and in that situation.
Not a response you want to be doing right now.
Not in this specific situation, but that's what California hopes for.
Yeah,
they hope nobody's going to kick back and act like we're wrong, because if there's any right in it, or even if we are wrong, it doesn't really matter. The fool who's for sexual, deviancy in the workplace and harassment and rape allegations and rape culture and all that. I mean, even some of the things I've said in this conversation, plenty of people will listen to and go, man, that guy's a male chauvinist pig. I get it,
bastard.
Yeah, just because I come across still with I'm trying to have more of a balanced point of view. I believe all that stuff happens. I've been around women who have been through it, and I care about that. But I also think it's being manipulated a lot of times, and so there's this vibe there that is it's a rocky place right now in the U.S. If you're not part of it in the U.S., it's a thing. You know what I mean? And you got to balance. Where's freedom and where's unfreedom? You go, it's not freedom to harass somebody. That's true, right? But there's part of me that goes, is it freedom to just like in the modern age? What if I own a company and I really just want to hire only men in my company? Not so we can treat women badly, or we'd hire women. You know what I'm saying? And then we treat those women badly in the workplace. But what if I'm a company and I just want a bunch of men? That's even kind of dangerous in America right now. Yeah. So there's a you see what I mean?
If you wanted to hire all men just to avoid sexual problems in your workplace, that would still be looked upon badly.
Looked upon badly.
Yeah.
But in Blizzard's case, they have hired women, and the issue too is there's been some leaked emails from J. Allen Brack, the president right now of Activision or of Blizzard, and the emails he sent were opposite of what the official statements of Activision-Blizzard were, which was he didn't denounce what had just happened. It was kind of like, all right, guys, we got to get our stuff together.
Oh, no.
We need to help
I think
people
this
out.
Is going to be brutal.
It's just ripped the company. I mean, it's
just... Guys, listen, don't get me wrong. Like I said in the beginning, I think that did do maybe the modern may sound bad, but I guarantee back in the I believe it. Because I'm telling you, there was just probably a frat house party within the company. And when some of that comes out, like with more evidence, it's not going to be pretty. It is going to be bad, I think.
I think some people in the upper managements some heads are going to roll. I think new people are going to be coming in here just a little bit.
I think some of them did roll. I think some of the ones we've seen jump ship in the last couple of years jump ship for like,
trying to get out before it got worse.
That's right. Yeah.
We made an oopsie.
if you guys listen to the show, we've had a couple of times where we've gone, man, why are these guys leaving? It's not, is it that bad? What's going on? And this is pure speculation, but wouldn't you? If you were involved in all that and you saw where everything was going and you were already nervous to be, if you were treating women this way.
Even if you weren't guilty and you at least seen it happen and didn't do enough about it.
See, that's the shame. I don't want to run off on that rabbit hole because that's where I get mad. Because you're right. Guys, even when they're not guilty, have to live in a little bit of fear nowadays. But let's say they are guilty. Well, then you're just scared to death in the modern age. And then the case comes against you by California. They've been investigating for years now. I'm outie. As fast as I could be outie, I'm outie. You know what I mean?
Taking your money and moving to Florida.
That's right. And so it doesn't surprise me. I think that you're probably even going to see some of that come to where they go, hey, look, there was this big statement that came again, because there's all kinds of evidence that's not going to be at all in these public things we're seeing, right?
Right.
Not the case.
It hadn't even got unleashed yet. Names haven't even got unleashed yet. It's
right. So you may even see like super strong correlation where, hey, Susan Jackson came with this allegation and pictures of this and that on this date, and then just so happens 2 weeks later was when this CFO left, right? Or something. We're going to see stuff like that that's going to go,
oh, this isn't good. And I've seen other YouTubers who are close within the company. They have close ties, and one of them is the Quartering, and he was mentioning that he didn't want to mention names, but he did talk to a good amount of employees within the company, current and ex, and he said no one has denied that it didn't happen. He said from what he's heard, it's either been, some things were happening, but we didn't think it was that bad, or, it was happening and it was really bad, but there was that didn't happen.
Where? When did that? What day was? Yeah.
Right. So there's none of that. So that already looks bad. But I want to kind of it's such a big deal, I think, for Blizzard because it had such a strong community of fans and gamers behind it, right? These are people that have played their games for 30 years, So it kind of broke that veil open. I kind of looked at it like this. You have these guys like Mike Morhaime, Chris Metzen. Chris Metzen started in the company, I think, when he was 20. He may even been 19 when he started. So he was a kid, right? He didn't know any better. He just wants to do his dream job, which is make video games, make stories.
Right.
So I just kind of think of these guys. It kind of hit me like, just because Mike Morhaime and Chris Metzen, all these guys were very talented, right? And very almost genius level of creating these amazing games, does not mean they were good leaders or good management leaders. Does that make sense? And so I kind of look at it like what I think happened was, as Ryan was saying, sex, drugs, and rock and roll. They hit it big. They made it huge, making money, single, partying it up, and then all of a sudden, hey, you're a corporation now. Hey, you're publicly traded now. What do you do with that if you don't have those skills in place to...
Don't get me wrong, those publicly traded corporate companies do all the same stuff. They just do it on their private time nowadays.
Yeah, it's not going to happen in the workplace. Yeah.
It's compartmentalized,
And, and then you get into, situations with Alex Afrasiabi. Mike Morhaime, from what I've heard, is a great guy, so he probably just didn't have the backbone to say, now you're out.
Yeah.
It's like, I still want to be good to you.
Here's the other problem, guys, that you guys don't think about, okay? Remember, in the modern age, gaming talent is pretty easy to find. It's a huge industry, right? It's still very in demand in the sense of, you want them and you're going to pay good money for good developers and good coders. And I get that. But back then, it wasn't a thing. Talking about the 90s, it was not really a thing commonly, right? And so if you had your hands on a couple top shelf developers and they had their hands on a couple girls, you probably, it's not that you're too, I'm not ballsy enough to tell this guy he shouldn't be touching the girls or talking to him that way. It's probably like, I don't want to lose this guy.
Yeah.
That's sad, but I guarantee back, right, there would have been a lot more of that than there is today. Now it's like, hey, you're doing that crap, you're out of here. We'll find being here Tuesday. We got 50 guys lined up out front that want. So it's real, it's a whole different ball field from the 90s to today.
And then you take guys, and this is going to sound bad. Some people may get mad, but I think there's truth to this too. This thought, and I've heard some people talking about it too, and I agree with this also 100%. You take a bunch of type A personality guys who growing up were probably on the, as we would quote back in the day, the nerdy side, probably not good with women.
So I'm saying back then even more so, right?
Yeah, didn't have really...
you have cool corners that didn't really...
Yeah, so they probably, some of them may not have had great relationships with women, right? To build that, like what boundaries are, right? And then you give them all this money, power, boom, you know, they just overcorrect. Went from I can't talk to women to I'm going to come up and touch you. I'm gonna, you know.
Yeah.
Which there's so much playing into this role.
We're not saying it's right.
Yeah, well, I'm not trying to rationalize any of it.
We're trying to understand this is probably
how could this happen within the
happened.
company. Yeah. How can it happen? How, you know, so it's crazy. But we're going to see how it plays out.
I got an honest question, and I'm not saying this in a, I'm not being facetious or anything like that. And I want to get Hunter's thoughts first.
Okay.
Do you guys think that this mentality that we're talking about here, that's out of place? Of course, we're not talking about who cares if you're a freaky deaky with a girl outside of the office and you both are mutual and you both do some weird stuff. We're not talking about any of that, right? I'm not saying you have to be a sexual prude to work in the workforce. We're saying you need to be a sexual prude at the workforce. And if your cohorts, right, your partners in work aren't interested, right? You don't force whatever your kinky weirdness is on anybody. That's the point. But what I'm saying here is, in the modern day, it seems like that's getting better. Great, right? That's a good thing. Do you guys actually think it's getting better, or is it getting better at being hidden? Let's pose that to Hunter first.
I would think that, like you guys were talking about California earlier, I think it may be seen more than ever. That, to me personally, there's more outlets, just like you were talking about, like media. You know, media, you'll read, you know, something on Facebook about somebody, and you basically already think that they've been prosecuted for that because of the way they talk about it. And so for me, they haven't been yet, and there's, you know, not been the proof there or whatever. So for me, I think that we see more of it today than ever. Like the access to see these things happen, happen more than ever. I think there's more people who are willing to whistleblow on it now.
Yes.
Than there ever has been before. Because like you said, in the 90s, you know, when big, you know, corporations ran what they ran, and most of the CEOs were men, and that's just how it was back then. A couple of years, women were scared to speak up, and just like they still are to this day, I'm sure in a lot of situations where they feel like their job and their family could be at jeopardy. But I think there's more outlets today than there was 10 years ago for them to think, I can escape this and get money out of it and be okay, you know, and it's not right. Whereas, you know, 20 years ago, there's a different kind of atmosphere to that you go to somebody higher up and they say, no, you're part of this company. If you don't like it, you can leave.
Right. Now, let me repose the question though. Okay. Because I don't think, maybe I didn't get the answer I was looking for. I'm saying on the men's side of it, right? The sexual abusers, not the accusers, right? Yeah. On the men's side, we're seeing more companies taking an aware or woke approach to how they're running their company. They're bringing in a lot of times women HR now. It's a big thing, right? So no woman is going to go in and talk to a woman HR and hopefully get blown off by some douche who's like, hey, so what? He looked at your boobs like they used to. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So that's what we're seeing in the structure, like in the external structure that everybody gets to see, and the way it's being kind of carried out by these CEOs. That's kind of, I would say generally, though we're getting more reports of this stuff, I don't think it's happening more. I just think it's being more exposed.
Yes.
What I'm saying is, do we actually think that with all these companies, you know, in men being better, right, which is kind of the thing right now, they're being better men, do you think they're actually being better men and they're to the issue, in your personal opinion? or do you think that they're just doing better at making it look like you?
I think that they're doing better at making it look like it. I think that they're just like you guys said. These companies start taking precautions once they know they've been caught.
Mm-hmm.
It's and now that they're taking these precautions so that they can not get in trouble, right? And so I don't think that and that's why you have somebody like something like this happening at Blizzard, because they have that, just like Clinton was talking about that statue outside where we value everybody's voice and everything. Well, that's all fine and dandy, and that's what you say as a corporation, but you're just saying that to hide what's underneath, and then crap hit the fan because they didn't really believe in those values. They just had them slapped on the outside. And so I think that these companies, if they truly valued what they were saying they did, we would see less of it. But we continue to see these companies split open here and there because they aren't valuing. And the valuing of that, the true value of a woman and protecting her at the workplace, needs to start with the owner and CEOs. And then once it's brought to their attention that somebody's being mistreated, that guy needs to be talked to and terminated if he can't figure it out.
Yeah.
Where that's not happening, like you guys said, it's well, we care about our people, but we're gonna look at how we can still keep this guy when he's had multiple offenses.
Yeah, I mean, he's went to your big annual get together, and fans who don't know him have complained to staff, hey,
right?
So I guess that's how I answer your question. Is no, I don't think that some of these big corporations really care, but I don't think they care about some of their men either.
No, it's both. But the other thing too that jumps out to me is a lot of people think, well, how are these companies that are openly, or they're exposed, right? The exposed bad companies, are they doing better, right? They kind of ask those kind of questions. How are they handling things now? The real question you guys should be asking yourself is these modern companies that have been established in current days, right? They, from the beginning, know how to look the way you want them to look. That does not mean that they handle things that way.
The actual values are that way.
Yeah, and sometimes it's actually worse because those companies are getting away with it more. It's harder to prove what those leadership guys in those companies are doing because they're all taught how to do it and not get caught. Don't do things stupid or leave paper trails or emails, so they handle it differently. It doesn't mean they're not doing it. And I'm not one of those guys that actually agrees that every male is a chauvinistic and we live in a rape culture and it's cool to rape people. I've never in my entire life met a guy that thought it was cool to rape a girl. So that's a weird thing, to think is a reality. But I do think that there are plenty of men out there that make jokes like, "Hey, we can't do that anymore.
Well,
not on camera." You know what I mean?
Say that though, but you may just be a strong enough personality too. They're not going to come out and let you know that, right? I mean, the ones that you would come across.
Could be. I mean, I've been around some crazy people.
Well, that guy may flip out.
You're
true. Big old boy.
Yeah, that's true.
And so,
but the way it's talked about modern days is like that's 1 out of 5 we're rapers, and I disagree with that 100. We're not. We got 3 of us here, so you're saying if we added Justin and Rowdy, one of us is a rapist? Come on, I'm just saying there's an out of balance thing there. But that doesn't mean if you put 1 out of 5 of us together, one of us 5 probably has performed some sexual harassment. I would probably say yes. Because we do dumb things.
Guys.
Yes.
Yeah, and that
doesn't make it okay. We need to be educated. We need to understand. Hey, this is not cool. Guys joke this way, girls don't. You know what I mean? And those kind of things got to be taught in the workplace. But yeah, I didn't mean to go off on a rabbit trail. I think it was important because we care about this picture that's painted. When in all reality, it's not about the picture that's painted. It's about what's really going on. Yeah. How are men really handling things? How are these companies really handling things? Yeah.
Society has gotten really good at that because of Facebook and social medias and stuff of creating a false face of how people want to see us when we're not really putting out there who we really are. And I think that goes for exactly what you're saying, that there's corporations, men out there who put up a face of, I'm doing everything right, but I don't believe my core values still believe, wrongly. And so,
which unfortunately that means if they're drinking some alcohol in a certain situation,
it's even worse.
There's still that chance for it coming out.
It's even
also
worse.
sucks.
Yeah.
Comes back. You know what I mean?
Cube Crawl Carl over there. It's like, oh,
Yeah,
there he goes.
Mm-hmm.
He hasn't done this in 20 years. Here,
What happened?
yeah.
Cubicle Nerf gunfights. Let's keep it at that. You know.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of it here. I'm just like, ugh. But I'm sure you guys tend to be the same way. I'm the type of guy that's like, well, I'm going to respect women when I'm with them and go out of my way to be respectful. And so I read some of this stuff. I'm just like, dang. So I can't even compute how you would have the nerve to say some things or do some things. It's just like,
no. But the other thing is, the guys who are the good guys are never going to get any acknowledgement in a lot of this, right? Because the guys who the good guy, he's kind of in the same situation as that girl.
Well, this is kind of where Chris Metzen is, right? People are mad. You knew this guy. You're saying you didn't. How friendly were you with him? Surely you knew something was going on.
But you've also got it in your head, like, if I say I'm just a regular cubicle guy with the rest of them, and all these guys are acting this way, and at the time, kind of more than likely the girls feel pressure enough to act that way and act, some of them, like they're okay with it. You get what I mean? That's the reality of the scenario. Whether they are or aren't is that's a different story.
Their natural defense mechanism.
Right. And so, well, they're scared they're going to lose their job, blah, blah, blah. Right? Well, so is the guy who's the good guy. The guy who's like, man, this guy's, golly, talking to her like that? I would never talk to a girl like that. You know, and he's got that normal, well, I call it normal because that's who I'm surrounded with, those kind of guys. But that mentality that is still respectful to women, right? He's not going to stand up and go, hey, we can't be having this in the workplace either. He doesn't want to lose his job. He's in the same scenario. He's going to be out of the circle. Yeah. You know what I mean? All right, you girly girl. You know what I mean? It's the same thing. Yeah. And so even the good guy gets put in the shadows. And then when all this
my supervisor, that guy's got power over me. Yeah.
Yep. And so when all this comes, every guy's a jerk, right?
You get bush shading for the next 2 months.
You said what?
Yeah, say it again.
Jim gets put on bush shading for the next 2 months. Like he's got to go in there and shade bushes and WoW for like 3 months because he spoke up against the dad, who was.
So I've had my brother-in-law had asked me what I was doing with WoW. I've seen other people talking about what they're going to do. I've seen a lot of different reactions. One of the guys I listen on a podcast that does a WoW podcast, he just recently quit covering just straight WoW content, and he was real blunt on his podcast and said, hey, if this would have happened 2 weeks ago, I would be telling you this is the last episode of this podcast, and we would be done. He said because he was very personally angry because he knew a lot of these women involved. He worked with a lot of them, and also his daughter just got out of college and is going into game development. And her dream was to work at Blizzard. And he had her, and he played WoW with her and had her in Blizzard games. And so he said for him, it was just this personal, like, I trusted you guys. Like,
he built his whole career.
You. My daughter was wanting to work for you. Yeah, my whole career has been built. And he even said, I have an item in the game named after me. He's like, and right now I'm just like, I don't want to be associated with you guys with all this going on because that's not me. And I don't want to get brought in by association because you guys, we find out you guys screwed the pooch, basically. You know? So I could understand that. And then I've seen other people say, boycotting's not going to work. This is my passion, and I'm not going to stop. And so, my brother-in-law just kind of asked me, and I kind of stopped anyway because I've kind of been burning out a little bit on WoW anyway.
That's why we're playing Final Fantasy. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I was just kind of like, this is kind of the final nail of like, okay, I'm going to take a good break. I'm going to step away and just
see what these guys do.
Yeah. Are you going to fix the game? Are you going to fix your culture? Are we going to get things right? Because they've been making bad decisions for the last 3 years. Let's be honest. 4 years probably. Right. A business decision wise.
People are going to go, well, what about Call of Duty? Well, to be honest with you, I'm not trying to throw out speculation, but they've been around for a long time too. And there's probably plenty of bad crap that happened there. And yes, that's probably happening at all these places. But we don't know anything about what's going on with Activision at this point.
I guess for me, it's probably unfair, but I don't hold Activision to the same standard I held Blizzard to.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
It sounds kind of weird, right? But it's kind of like,
you're used to Call of Duty
like EA for
being so toxic.
Yeah, I'm just
I get what you're saying for sure. It's a whole different atmosphere, even in the game.
Where it's like, okay, well, Blizzard purposely was like, hey, we're the greatest. We're so nice. We're so loving.
We're super moral. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, just got a bad taste in my mouth. But I also want to say, like, you should be able to play what you want to play, guys. You still have freedom in it. So I think it comes down to a moral code for yourself. If you feel like you're so disgusted with them right now and morally you feel bad about playing the game, then I would say don't play the game. If for you feel like playing the game doesn't really affect the situation and that's your escape, I think you should play the game.
If you say, I never did any of that stuff. I love the game. I'm going to play the game. Do you?
Right.
Yeah.
So and also I want to throw out, because this has been happening, I think this is complete garbage, is people threatening Blizzard employees and people threatening World of Warcraft streamers or Overwatch streamers, anybody that's streaming Blizzard games, basically putting out threats to them for playing. Shut up. Shut your freaking mouth. You're a harasser too. By you doing that, you're acting the same way as these people who have done this to the women, and so stop it. That's what I say, because it's it's ridiculous.
Here's the thing: you just like you said, Clint. It's all on your beliefs and how you feel about it, because you can look at it in the sense of, okay, this game was built on by a company and by people who did not have good standards, and women were forced to do this, and that's why this game was being made. But then there's also moments where women probably worked on that game and put a lot of compassion and their passion into it and building things in that game that made it the game that it is. So there's two sides of the spectrum. There always is. And so just because, there's so many bad apples, don't let it spoil the bunch. There's creative ideas in that game, and there's hours that have been put into it creatively by females that were in that workplace, that did a great job on it. So it's like you said, it's however you feel personally. Don't, and then it's just, we get so up in arms about things, sometimes we become the very thing we don't like. And and don't be that person who's ripping somebody else down because they believe something a little differently than you.
And to the people hurt by it,
then hurting women, that's not a don't, you got to stand up for that for sure.
For sure. Yeah. And then to like the people who are hurt by it, because there's people who've met their spouses and right? That's like how they, I couldn't say that happened to me, but I did get to play it with my wife. And so that's kind of like a memory we've had together. It's kind of like we got to go do some cool stuff and play in this fantasy world together. And it's kind of a nice memory for us. Don't let people's stupid actions or evil actions steal your joy and your hope, because whatever you experienced in those worlds, those games, was real. Just like it was real, in real life.
Yeah. It was your own experience. Yeah.
If Ryan became a serial killer tomorrow, which, I mean, there's like a 50-50 chance. But, if that happened, it's like, I would not let that affect the joy I had previously.
Right, yeah.
I would be super upset from then on, but,
Right.
So I don't know. That's just kind of how I look at things, because everything has a bad side to it in life.
The Golden Gate Bridge. It's beautiful, but a lot of people die there.
Yep.
Boy, that went real dark. That went real dark on it.
Just like I'm just saying, you look at that bridge and you could say, "Wow, this is a depressing place," or you can say, "This is a beautiful bridge."
Yeah.
There's there's two sides to it, and people leave their mark on things one way or another.
Yeah.
But when we let people's mark affect us in a way that we can't move on from, that's when we lose.
Oh, yeah.
And we let them win, right? When you are able to take an experience for yourself and make it the one you want it to be from anything, that's when you can create good change, I believe. That's just
agreed.
Now, Ryan, me and Hunter got a little more philosophical right here in the end, I feel like. So we're going to give you you say your last opinion, your last thoughts, opinions, your final sign off here on that. Because I feel like me and him got like deep into it, and we didn't really give you a chance to speak.
No, I'm good. I spoke a lot on the in-betweens. You know how I do. I jump in there. I get mine in. I think that this whole subject is something that for our generation and our kids is going to be ongoing. It's not going away anytime soon. We're going to see this hashed out and pushed too far and brought back to a balance. And this is going to be part of life for us, right? And my biggest thing is to where, like Clint said, hey, don't let one bad thing change, all the good things. I agree with that. And the big one that jumped out to me from Hunter is when he said, don't let some bad apples ruin the whole batch. I agree with that. So I come from the angle that is, don't be in a position to where, because there's pressure to act like something is a certain way, don't join the bandwagon if you don't believe it. Does that make sense? Like, let's let things be true for what's true. This is one of those situations that on small scales we've seen spike out of proportion and out of reality. Just like for years and years we saw it hidden like an iceberg where you're just seeing the tip and it was all buried, right? What we want to end up with as a society, and we have to do it on an individual level, is, well, what's true? Let's just look at what's actually true. Let's not let my heightened emotions just hate every guy ever, and I'm saying this to our girl listeners too. And let's not think that because there's some lies out there that it's all lies. Let's take the time, as this is all panning out, not just in this one situation, but in life, because this is going to be an ongoing thing, to go, hey, well, what's reality? What have I actually experienced? What's the evidence in this specific situation? And continue to build a perspective that is along that line and not emotionally in any of the other two directions. Yep.
Yeah. I think that's true for 2021, and it looks like 2022. And like you said, it's always an emotional roller coaster. So,
well, we're in the age of media manipulation. Everything we go through, and we're talking about Facebook and everything, and everybody knows this, we are being constantly driven to like or dislike certain ways of doing everything. Yes. And we have to keep our humanity in the middle of this cluster that's happening. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's interesting to live through, but it's going to take some personal individual effort to keep your own head on straight, people.
Yeah, exactly. You have to stand for something.
And obviously this gaming thing's been like, we've had the drip drips, the Riot Games, did Ubisoft ever have an issue?
I can't remember.
I don't remember, but there's been some other gaming companies out there that have kind of the drip, hey, this happened, hey, this is a walkout. And so I think Blizzard's big enough and had a big enough fan base that it has been the big burst of the pipe. So really the best thing that can happen out of this, guys, is things get fixed over there, and the company becomes better, the culture becomes better there, and we can see people doing what they're passionate about, which is making good games, and therefore we get to enjoy that community, enjoy those games, and live a fun life. So anyway, that's closing thoughts. We appreciate it, guys. I think this was an important conversation. It's not really something we've talked about that honest, I think, on the podcast.
And we are going to break this down like we're doing all the new shows, except for, obviously this Blizzard portion will be like a whole show of its own.
Yeah.
And that's fine. And we'll probably, we'll keep the other two stories because they're short on one of their own. Yeah. And then we'll do this one separate. But there's no way to make this one short. I think if you got together one person talking, that's one thing. But if we're going to have an actual conversation about this that has any kind of caring about what's going on, you're not going to get through that in less than an hour. So that's what we did, guys.
And I do apologize if it's felt long, guys. There was a lot of representation there. You had the old guard, the new guard. You had
all you did is read the article. You threw out some evidence instead of just saying opinions, which is what we need. Right, and then we talked about it. I think people who are listening,
was a good cap.
It's a good show.
I do hope we did a good presentation of kind of the overview of what's going on. But there's just too much there that it was like, I can't just do one little thing on this whole big iceberg, like Ryan said. So,
and you got a good balanced conversation. You got Clinton, the disappointed, the crushed. He got cheated on in a way.
Yeah, I've been grieving. I really have. I know that sounds stupid, guys, but it's like since 2009, I had some great experiences. It's just like, man.
And then you got Hunter. He's like the philosopher guy down here. Hey, peace, everybody, peace. It's kind of his vibe. And then you got Ryan, the male chauvinist. So this is a very balanced conversation that we had here. And I think anybody who's listening probably enjoyed it. Let us know. Send us an email, comment,
Yeah, let us know.
I'm here for you when you log back on, and that's like RuneScape. Just
Oh, jeez.
I'll help you through it.
I'm still having issues when I'm on Final Fantasy. It's like, oh, is she gonna notice? You know?
Yeah, it's like, should she stay delirious?
Should she stay dadding?
Or should she just stay gaming? This is where the whole thing messes up. This has been a Delirious Dads production. For more information about the show, visit our website at www.deliriousdadsgaming.com.
We did it live.
You can also find us on facebook.com/deliriousdadsgaming, twitch.tv, and YouTube. Make sure you like and share our pages to help us grow the channel. You can listen to the podcast on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, and Spotify. Please leave a rating and review if you enjoy the show. Thank you again for listening, and we hope to see you next time.